Hi, Dylan. I wanted to leave you some feedback on your week one writing assignment. So first off, let's talk about formatting. You got your heading right here, but it looks like you forgot to include your course, the title of the course. So remember in MLA, it should go your name, your instructor's name, the course, and then the fourth line of the heading should be the date. Also, be certain to include your header, your last name, and page number. It should appear up here in the upper right-hand corner. Remember, there's a tutorial on formatting your paper in MLA located on the resources folder. So if you need to review or need some directions on how to create a header, you can find it there. Um, so let's talk about your summary. So I think that you have the right idea here. I think that you have a good handle on what Orwell is talking about in his essay. In addition, I think that you're bringing in discussing good moments in the text, right? Good key ideas, and I think that you are responding. Even though your responses to the evidence, like here, it's pretty brief. I think that I think that this submission, should you choose to write about Orwell, has enough potential to it that you could potentially turn it into essay one, should you want to. There'll be some tweaks that you need to do here and there, but like I said, I'm seeing enough good stuff that I think that you could use this to work on it. Let's back up a little bit and talk about your summary. So you include the author's last name in the title right here. Remember, when you summarize, you actually want to create a full signal phrase that you put into the actual writing in the essay, right? And so you start off the essay this way. The summary that I gathered was the harsh reality of life and death and humanity. Um, uh, you need to be more narrow and specific, and the way that you do that is with a signal phrase. So if you remember from the summary lecture in week one, a signal phrase will have you introducing the author's full name and the article title or the short story title, and then stating the main idea. So instead of just sticking it here in the title, what you want to do is something like, in George Orwell's short story, a hanging, a hanging, the author discusses, and then go from there. Does that difference make sense, right? So yeah, you've got it there in the title, but the reader expects that if you're writing a summary, you'll include the signal phrase. And then if you include the signal phrase, you don't need to state this, right? This is essentially redundant at that point. And it'll be more formal if you use the signal phrase. So here's the other thing that you want to keep in mind. You are being subjective here. You don't want to do that in a summary. In a summary, your main purpose is to focus on capturing the author's main idea in your own words as succinctly as possible. I think that you are correct in having this assessment, but I would hold off on this for critical analysis for essay one, should you choose to write about this essay. You don't want to talk about how you felt in a summary. That comes later, right? Does that make sense? So I think that this is an objective statement, and I think it captures the main idea. I would get rid of your maybe. And because I think that he is, right? I know that you said maybe because you're like, I think this is what he's saying. But in your writing, particularly in your essay writing, get out those maybes, right? Like, just say this is how it's interpreted, at least from my point of view, right? I mean, you don't have to literally say that, but I understand that if you're saying this, it's like Dylan is saying, I'm interpreting Orwell's argument to be this, right? You might consider tweaking this wording here, and trying to narrow that and making that more concise, right? So think about your word choice here. Really, this is about morality, right? So he's saying that capital punishment is immoral, right? Even though it's sanctioned by the state, it's still immoral. Another thing that you want to pay attention to in summary, you've got a really big direct quotation here. You want to avoid direct quotations and summaries, right? Remember, you're capturing the author's main idea in your own words, so you want to avoid direct quotations. Direct quotations can come in later when you're talking about key ideas, and then you use them as evidence to support the key idea. So you using them down here is fine. And you using them in the body paragraphs of essay 1, for example, that's absolutely fine. In fact, I'm going to ask you to do that. But you typically want to avoid these in summary writing as much as you possibly can. So some tweaks here and there, but I think these tweaks is going to, well, I think they will help you make the writing more formal, which is what we want to aim for in professional writing. So know that the ideas that you have here are good. I think that you're understanding Orwell. I think what I want you to think about is before your final submissions, taking the time to do a second read and thinking about where you slip into informal tone and seeing what you can do to clean that up. And that's something that we'll continue to talk about throughout the semester. All right, thanks.